And I said, Kevin, did you see that?
Yeah, I'm like, and that was a fish, man.
That was a fish. So we kept watching the rock. And then we saw it again. Whoosh. And it was like, whoa, what is in there? Welcome to 10-Minute Travels. With me, as always, is Shane Patrick.
With me, as always, is Phil Freeman. Tonight, we're going to be talking with Kevin Neff about traveling through Guatemala off of a napkin. If you want to learn more about that or anything else we talk about at 10 Minute Travels, please check out 10minutetravels.com.
Let's get right to it, shall we? Let's take a second and just talk about that tarpon situation.
Okay.
Can I promise?
Yeah, go for it, man.
This was one of those, days that you don't plan when you're traveling, and that's why you plan to not have any plans. And Kevin and I had worked together as, fly fishing guys in remote lodges. We both are fly fishing aficionados. We love to do that, but we also like to backpack and travel. And that's what we were doing. And we headed across to Guatemala, and I forget the river. I got to look it up. Do you remember the river by chance? It was a really interesting situation.
It was a perfume river.
Perfume river?
I think, I'm getting it mixed up. But the town...
Rio de something.
Yeah, Rio de something. But something.
But the deal was it was a pretty good sized river, and they didn't have a bridge across it. So the bus stopped, you got off, and you went down to the river where you were met by a boat or one of those long launches, and it zipped you across this chocolate, jungle river.
Barge. Yeah.
And it took you across to the town, and then it deposited you, and it was too late in the day for us to get another bus to go somewhere. So we decided to go to the cheapest place that we could find and stay the night and see what happens. And our criteria for any hotel was to have a lurker deck, some place where you could overlook everything around the street or the courtyard or whatever. And we found one because, well, just like a lot of the buildings in Central America, it wasn't completed, and all of the rebar and concrete were up above us, and we could, get up above our rooms and get a couple beers at sunset and overlook this river magic, because there was all sorts of boat traffic going back and forth, and there was a huge boat with a whole bunch of these little turret outboards, and it was just such a fun thing to watch at sunset. And we're fishermen, so we got this eye on you're always kind of fishing the water when you're looking at it. And there was this huge rock. When I say huge, it was maybe 2 automobiles in diameter, moving some water, underneath the surface. And we saw a whoosh from afar. We're several hundred yards from this place. And I said, Kevin, did you see that?
Yeah, I'm like, and that was a fish, man.
That was a fish. So we kept watching the rock. And then we saw it again. Whoosh. And it was like, whoa, what is in there?
And then there were several more swooshes.
Yeah.
A lot more.
So we're having a few more. We have one more beer, Mom. And then we went down to the restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant goes, do you guys fly fish? Just out of the blue.
Yeah, it was a weird question to get from our waiter.
Yeah, Oscar.
Yeah,
and
that was his name.
And we answer, yeah. And and then he comes back with these fly fishing magazines. He goes, I love to fly fish too, and this and that. And he's talking a million miles an hour. And he goes, I own this restaurant, but what I really like to do is fish. And guess what? There's tarpon in that river. Do you want to go fishing tomorrow? And we looked at each other and go, fishing? Really? He goes, yeah, I can have a boat, lunch, beer, water, and I got a fly rod.
We had no fishing gear with us.
Nothing.
He
goes, can you be here tomorrow? And we finished our meal and looked at each other, and we had no plans. So we said, okay, where do we meet you?
And it was like super cheap. It was like 50. He was going to take us for the whole day for $50
for both of us.
American money, like $50. It's like
guide fee and food and beer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's like, and okay, we'll go. All right.
Yeah, even shoestring travelers, you got to go.
Yeah, you have to pull that,
We didn't know what we were getting into, but I know one thing. That night I had a cockroach run the entire length of my body from my tip of my toe up my leg, and across my face.
Yeah, you were in the bed next to me.
I screamed out loud.
I get to listen to you scream like a little girl. And because there was a cockroach on you.
I realized we were going to change hotels and maybe spend $5 a night instead of $2 so that we didn't have cockroaches on us. That was one change. But when we went down the boat and he was ready and had his rod and his guide, and we got in and the sun started cranking up the heat. I mean, Kevin knows heat. He lived in San Antonio, Texas. He knows what heat is. He even said it was really hot. And
well, it's Central America, like this is hot.
We ended up going upriver for a while, and we didn't know where we were going. And then he said, okay, here we are. Just start watching. And we started coasting down the side of the river, and you could see these schools of tarpon that had migrated in from the ocean that were as long as or half as long as the boat we were in.
Yeah, I didn't even know tarpon would move into freshwater. I didn't know it. I thought they were just saltwater fish, but I learned on this trip that they move in to feed and or spawn or whatever in freshwater rivers. I did not know that at this time.
I honestly, after I saw the one come up to the boat, follow the fly, I didn't want to hook one because I just thought it was too big.
That one that you pulled to the boat was like, it scared me, and I didn't even have a rod in my hand. That thing came up and it looked me in the eye. It saw me and it was like, I gotta go. And it turned around and splashed and made this big fuss and took off. And I'm just like, oh my God. I hooked a couple that day, but I was using Oscar's fly rod, and those fish are so strong that you really got to force them out of they go right into the brush, and you have to like force them out of there and I'm like, man, this is Oscar's pride and joy fly rod. I did not want to break this guy's rod, because it was a nice American fly rod or whatever. And I didn't want to break it. So I was just like trying to be and I lost all the fish I hooked that day because I didn't want to break this guy's rod, because it's Guatemala, man. Like, he's got this super nice setup that somebody gave him, some client of his.
He didn't get it at the tienda down the street.
No, you're not gonna, and you can't replace that in Guatemala. Like, there's no way you're gonna get a replacement ever. And so,
at the end of the day, we never did catch or boat any of the fish. But
so if you would have, what was their plan to land it? Did they have nets or a wampum stick or?
I don't think we were going to keep them.
You're going to just let them go out there in the water?
They were going to keep them?
Yeah.
I don't know how you get a massive fish like that.
In us when we didn't land them.
I don't know what
I don't know how you get... Yeah, they didn't have nets. They didn't have a net.
It would have been just a pitched fight.
It would have been just like, yeah, let's get this 6-foot fish on this little boat and hit it with a club or something.
Right.
I don't know what would have happened, actually. That's a good question, for sure.
Man, what a memorable day. It was
outstanding, man, for sure. Like, just to be so random and, not knowing what we were going to end up doing the next day. And then you end up in that situation was outstanding, like fun. And that's why you travel. That's why you travel and leave your options open. You don't, make a schedule. Oh, we got to be here. We got to be there. We got to do this or we got to do that. Let's go to the church. Let's go to the museum. Let's go. No, it's like, hey, our waiter wants to take us fishing tomorrow.
Nope. We're going to the museum.
We have plans to go to the museum. We're going to the museum. I mean, that's the beauty of it, I think.
So what happened basically was Brandon gave us a napkin. We ended up going off Napkin out of Cancun. We made it to Guatemala. We spent most of our time there. I got robbed. Kevin left me at the border with Mexico. And then I figured out a way to do it. And then I flew back to Cancun and caught up with his flight
I was like,
pattern.
I'll take care of him.
And we flew home. And that was traveling off of a napkin.
That was Kevin Neff talking about traveling through Guatemala off a napkin. If you want to learn more about that or anything else we do at 10 Minute Travels, please check out 10minutetravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure that your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure.
And please like, subscribe, and share this podcast on all the platforms.